Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I show you guys how I added 3 new fish to that big tank, but I obviously didn't add it immediately to the big tank. There's some procedures I do now, and those one I show you right now. It's now already maybe 4 or even 5 weeks ago when I went to my local fish store and I got my eyes on 3 fish, 2 Dispar Antias. Those are very nice fish. I always wanted to have them for a long time. And the other fish was named on the tank as a coral damsel. But then when I did a little bit more research on the whole fish, I couldn't actually even find any pictures of that fish named as a coral damsel. So I'm pretty sure it's a kind of a chromis. It could be a pale tail chromis. Or I think the other name I saw was a lightning double bar chromis. I always kind of look up the fish on Live Aquaria on the website there, because they have a huge assortment of fish with a lot of pictures, and there's always a little bit description that helps you in case you don't really understand everything about that fish. So I definitely recommend to look that up if you want to make sure that it's a good addition to your fish tank. So the idea first was to get these 3 fish and then put the 2 Antias fish in the big tank and leave the coral or chromis in the frag tank. But over the 3 or 4 weeks I had it in the frag tank, the Antias and the chromis almost bonded a little bit, so they become friends. So I couldn't really left the little guy inside there. So that's why I moved everybody to the big tank. It's now pretty much 1 year since I added the last fish, which was actually that blue tang here, to the big tank. 1 year. So I don't want to play now Jeopardy and just add a fish and make all the fish I have inside in that tank sick in kind of way. So there's actually pretty easy steps to help prevent this one. One thing was I bought a little pouch with 2 liquid inside from the company Blue Life, which the product is called Safety Stop. It's a rapid fish quarantine dip, and it is made out of 2 parts. So part A is formalin, part B is methylene blue, and both of these active ingredients are known and useful solutions to bath fish or to dip fish first, and to remove parasites on them. The first step is you bring your fish home. They usually come in little bags, in transparent bags. Then I put them somewhere in the sump, just that the water heats up the water inside. So just that the fish is not kind of shocked for the temperature, because if it's cold outside, obviously the bag water gets a little bit colder. Then you can prepare the 2 baths. So you need 2 containers. It's the easiest if you prepare both containers at the same time. In container 1, you then obviously put the solution part 1. In container B, you put the other solution inside, and just make sure you have kind of air stone inside to agitate the water. I don't have that, so that's why I use a little pump to just kind of make a little bit turbulence for the water, that the water has enough oxygen inside. And then you can put the fish inside, first to bath A, for 45 minutes. Definitely make sure you don't put them longer inside them. After 45 minutes, you take them out of the first bath, put them into container B with the methylene blue, also for 45 minutes. And after that, you can take them out. So it's kind of 90 minutes of that procedure you have to go through, and then you can actually put it into the tank. What I did is not put it right away into the big tank, because step number 2 to make sure the fish are completely free of disease is put them in an observation tank. And I don't really have a quarantine tank, but I have a completely separate system which I grow out little frags. So I put then both or all 3 of the fish inside that frag tank and observe them another at least 3 weeks, just to make sure they don't have any spots, that they feed or eat very good. Because you can pretty much spot the fish if you feed the fish and he barely eats at all, then maybe in the beginning he's just shy, but if he doesn't eat for several days, then often most likely has kind of issues. So that's why I put it in a frag tank. If then something happened to the fish, it's completely isolated to that system, and that it never affects the big fish tank here. Obviously make sure if you put them in a separate system that you not swap the water in between, which I usually do, but I obviously stopped that when I quarantine fish here. Keep them 3 weeks inside that tank, and then you can release it to your main tank. So these are the 2 steps I take to try to prevent any kind of parasites on my fish. One little thing I like to add on dipping the fish system, obviously if you dipped your fish in that solution, don't put that tank water back in your tank, just put it somewhere down the drain. So that's definitely not to reuse in your fish tank, so just throw it away. Another thing was that they also say do not use it on any invertebrates, so no snails or the shrimp or urchins or crabs or something like this. Don't use it with them, it's really just for the fish. Another thing I did when I moved the fish from the frag tank to the main display is I used the Acclimation box. The one I have is almost too small, or is actually definitely too small for these 3 fish, but since I only have them around 4 to 5 hours inside, it will be perfectly fine for them. That way they can get used to the water parameters, to everything. Also kind of when I try to catch them, they are usually stressed out, so they can kind of relax, and it's just easier for them. If you put them right away into the tank, there's like all these other fish there, maybe kind of want to make sure they don't take their spot, and then they get not only stressed from the move, they get also stressed from the other fish. So I definitely recommend to use a acclimation box like this to make sure that the fish can de-stress a little bit before it's then exposed to the other tank mates inside. Another thing is also to do this is you can then watch the other fish. So if they go and try to attack that box because they see the fish inside, then that's definitely a sign that maybe you almost bought the wrong fish for the tank, or they just really don't like each other. But in my case, the fish started to swim up to the box, check out the fish inside, and there was absolutely no aggression. And now, probably that's like 1 week after I put them into the big tank. For the first 1 or 2 days, they were hiding a little bit in the rockwork inside, but now they are kind of just swimming around with the other fish. Usually just when I sit here before in front of the tank, they're a little bit shy. They anyway go into the rockwork, but as soon as I move all the stuff here away, they come out and just nicely swim then around. Especially the Antias, which is a little bit hiding back there, is a really nice addition to the tank. It was one of my dream fish. I was always a little bit scared because everywhere it's written that they are a little bit hard to keep, or you have to feed them all the time because they have like a small little stomach or something like this. But this time I just wanted to give it a go, and they eat very well. It looks like there's absolutely no aggression from the other fish, so they are kind of happy in the reef pack there, and they just give a very nice addition to the reef with their coloration, with that orange, reddish, almost a little bit yellow. And I cannot wait to see them grow and see, because they most likely change a little bit the color, which is very interesting to observe then over the next couple months. But yes, these are more or less the steps I now take to make sure I can safely introduce new fish to my aquarium. Again, buy from a good fish from a good source. That could be from an internet web shop or from your LFS, from your local fish store, obviously. It's also good when you go to the local fish store that you observe the fish, obviously, and if he already looks super skinny and kind of sick, then maybe you better skip that one. Another tip is to ask your fish store if they can quick feed the fish, and if he immediately goes after the food, then that's usually also a good sign. On a lot of the online stores, you actually get a 7-day alive guarantee for your fish. Like I know that from live aquaria, so you definitely have, because obviously online you never see the fish in real life before, so that gives you another little safety. Then when you get it home, I would still dip the fish. Me personally, I from now on definitely do the dipping, the bath for the fish. Then I still do the observation tank, to put them in a tank that I can look at the fish for another 2 or 3 weeks. I know not everybody has that luxury to have a second tank to do that, but if you have a certain investment in a tank, you definitely want to make sure nothing happens to them. So that's a good thing for me, the tank. And then don't forget the acclimation box there, just to make sure the fish can de-stress. And then after that, you can enjoy it in your aquarium. If you have any tips or tricks how to introduce a new fish to your system, please put it in the comments. I am always happy to learn new things. Also, if you have a special web page or something where you look up details over your fish, as I said, I always use Live Aquaria. It's almost my go-to page when I look anything about new fish, but maybe there's some other good pages as well. So maybe share that with me and everybody else in the comments. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.